Okay, we are live. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Let me look down at the chat there so I can see everyone there. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Greetings to everyone. Greetings, Lisa, uh, Mike, everyone in the house, Ms. Robinson, Gretchen, Alanasa, Keep the Sun Out. Welcome there. Yeah, so sorry to take the family off of your normal Saturday evening. I know many of you were relaxing or you know, watching entertainment, etc. Welcome, Mr. Davis. But this is an emergency. The ancestors blessed me to find something that they led me directly to. And fortunately for us, I caught it in time. Welcome, Beverly. And it will give us time to plan now to secure our future. Um, Everyone can hear me, right? Put a one in the chat there if you can hear me. Let me make sure my there's no technical difficulties there. Just want to make sure I'm loud and clear. Okay, thanks, X and TX. Awesome. So, um, this is an urgent situation, family, and we've been at war. And most of us, unfortunately, welcome, Karen. We had our heads in the sand, and I mentioned this multiple times, even in my previous presentation a couple of days ago, that the opponent, the enemy, is working on replacing us permanently. Where in the next 50 to 100 years, family, there would be no memory of us. What I mean by us Americans, we're the only ones on the planet who are a mystery. Because there's something special about it. That's why they have to keep coming up with these social constructs. But we're the only ones who have multiple social constructs connected to our identity, which has nothing to do with geographical land. We're the only ones on the planet who are labeled in such a way, family. And but they've been working for decades on getting rid of us, and now there's a whole new puppet master, and this puppet master um, has dubious plans that I've exposed. We're going to get into that, and then towards the end of the presentation, I will present to the family what the puppet master's plans are, right, early on. But we're going to, because it is a multifaceted attack with a few players in it, all backed and supported and controlled by the puppet master, right? And we know that we're being invaded at our borders, and it's been happening since the puppet masters, agents are in the White House. We all know. Um, and but we go back, family, to the 1980s, and when they came up with the social construct of African American, right? And unfortunately, many of us have, you know, it's woven into our language, into our main lexicon. They already retroactively throw it back into history. When the articles you're reading about history, they're referred to many of our ancestors with that term African American. Um, but I believe it was actually I believe it was Lisa, and honest to her, I think she did tell me that they're actually planning on putting that into the census records. And towards the end of the presentation, we're going to show that that is true as part of the future plan, right? And we're going to get into all of that, right? But the they're going to replace us with real Africans, family. And as you know, last year on Mr. Kerry Davis's platform, I did a presentation where I showed um, the the mark African American, which that's exactly what it is. It's a mark. It's a trademark owned by the Chinese. Now, I don't know whether you're aware of this, family. Matter of fact, let me share my screen. You know that I guess they got wind of it, and they're the ones with the power. So when you go onto the United States Patent and Trade Office website database, you type in African American, it's not there. It's blank. So it doesn't mean that it's still active, but who would have that kind of influence or power to get rid of that evidence once we because we found out about it? So yes, it's no longer there. So matter of fact, let's go to that together up here. Let's go to the website here, USPTO trademark search. Okay, we can look at this here together. Let's see. We're going to go to the exact government site. We don't want USPTO. Yeah, this is what we want. We want the United States government website here. So yes, it's no longer up there, family. Um, let's see. Hopefully, I'm screen sharing. Let's see. I am screen sharing, right, family? You can see that. Wait a minute. Are they sharing? We are sharing, right? Let's see. Um, can the family see this here image? USPTO with the photo there of the guy. Need to make sure where you can see my screen. Put a one in the chat if you can see my screen. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go to trademarks. Welcome, Original Skywalker. Let's see here. Search trademarks. Right here. Search database. Here. Go basic word search here. Okay, so now remember when I was on Mr. Davis' platform, everything was there. You know, we just type in African American, African American, hit enter, submit query here. Okay, so we get a list here. I don't need that there. So we have this list here, family. And if you notice, it's no longer up here. So now, yeah, it's no longer here. Now, there's some weird spelling here, and me freaking African, but yeah, it's no longer here. But so you would have to have you have to be very influential and have a lot of power to get it taken off, even though it's still active and you own it. Okay? So, it's no longer here, family. No longer here. But also on Mr. Davis's platform, I exposed this, and then we're going to do it again so everyone's clear on this here. Um, okay, let's go back here. Go to the second one here. Hold on a second. Third one. Okay, right. So everyone's familiar with this one, right? Foundational Black Americans. Everyone's familiar with this trademark. Well, who's the owner of this trademark? Clear as day, owner Nasheed Tariq, individual United States. Okay, so everyone's clear that these constructs and these individuals are making up these constructs, and everyone's following them. Everyone is repeating his mark, which makes his mark more valuable. We got it. We got to get our goddamn heads out of the sand here, family. So again, it's only about our own paternal and maternal ancestors and what they left us. They were not called any of these constructs. All right. So you can't make it. You can't be in denial. Same individual that I put out to the world a documentary called Buck Breaking, where to put that out into the world, that image, and that person's still walking around alive, man, we're cut from a different branch, I tell you. We got to cut out with. We have to cut the hero worshiping stuff out, family. So let me get back here into my presentation here. And I just wanted to share that. But again, the African American that's owned by China is no longer there because once they found out that we knew about it, they had it removed. But it's still active. They still own it. Also on Mr. Davis's program, I showed how the Chinese are been investing tens and tens upon tens of millions of dollars into the HBCUs, HSB, whatever you call it, HBCUs. Why? Because those institutions, unfortunately, have been taken over by real Africans. The students and the professors are, for the most part, African. And why would the Chinese put money into it? Well, because so they could become spies for the Chinese. A Chinese spy is just not a real Chinese national. They use all over other people as spies, especially the Africans, because they're the perfect spy because they can become sleepers because they look like us. So we went over all of that stuff, right? And so again, let's back up a bit and look at a lot of the situation here with the Africans in particular. So let's focus on them just for a little bit here before we get to the puppet master. So to replace us, family, they have to study us, what we do, how we think, things we're interested in all aspects of civilization, politically, religiously, entertainment, etc. All aspects of human human life, family. And now, one of the things, we're very interested in history, and especially, uncovering our true history. And so they're once they it's almost as if they're trained, and then knows that they come out and they're confident enough to come out and now, mind you, family, the new battlefield is social media. It's the new battlefield. So a lot of these people are funded to go on social media to do these talking points and basically to it's almost as if they're acting, and the role they're playing is their exaggerated version of a so-called Black American or so-called African American. So let's see an example of that when it comes to them talking about history here, and then you can see how the language is and the hijacking and the takeover is actually infused in their language. So I want to show this quick video here. Um, Hold on one second here. Let's get to here. Okay, right here. So this is an African in this channel here. Let's just show this here to the family here. Now listen to how his language and how he talks here. He's talking about his what he think American history is when it comes to us.
And welcome to the Africa Recruiter. Today's subject on the docket is in relation to April 16th celebration of the Emancipation Act that was signed into law in 1862 by President Abraham Lincoln that freed about 3,300 African slaves.
Now let's stop it right there, family. What did he say? It freed African slaves. He's an African. So they're already infusing themselves into America because it had to do with them, not us. We're off on their chessboard. We don't exist. Let's continue.
In the District of Columbia. This happened in about 3 years before the 1865 ratification of the 13th Amendment that eventually freed all slaves in America. So this April 16th Emancipation Day has become a celebration by the African American communities and black people in the District of Columbia to commemorate that great day of freedom for blacks and Africans in the District of Columbia, as well as the United States of America as a whole.
Let's stop it again, family. What did he say? It was a celebration for blacks and Africans. Let's continue.
So you had a mayor, Maria Bowser, who also happens to be an African American woman, to become the mayor, first African American woman to become mayor of the District of Columbia, which happens also to be the official seat of government of the United States of America. So that's a heck of an achievement by Maria Bowser to be a woman, a black woman, as well as the mayor of the capital city of the United States of America. The very place that Abraham Lincoln has to sign into law a declaration of to end slavery against her ancestors. That is a heck of an achievement. So kudos to her. But anyway, so today's subject basically is going to center on how far we as Africans and African Americans and black people in the diaspora living in the United States of America have come in terms of their black success in various areas, in terms of academics, sports, entertainment, inventions, and all of that. Even though we've gone through a lot of things recently, especially when we talk about police brutalities, inequalities, discrimination, and all of that, and we have come a long way to get to where we are in American society, we can also not take away the fact that there have been some positives within the black community in America, and so on and so forth. Now, looking back at American history and looking at where we are today, especially celebrating the Emancipation Day in the District of Columbia, we cannot dispute the fact that we have come a long way. In the sense that if you look back 50, 60 years ago in American history, there were places African Americans could not go. There were places African Americans could not even sit and dine. Offices that African Americans could not hold, positions in government, military, which were sanctioned by the federal government and the various states in the country. But today, especially since 50 years ago after the Civil Rights Act in the late 60s, all the way to today, and you look at the achievement and the success of African Americans in America, there's no way we can deny the fact that we have come a long way and have played a crucial role in America today as we see it. Because if you look back to the history of Africans in America, the unfortunate past, which is about slavery, blacks, Africans being brought from Africa as slaves, the suffering, the death, cultures being stripped away from them, all of that stuff. And then to see where African Americans and black people are in America today, where they are in this society, it will be an understatement to say that that is beyond any human thinking. With all the suffering, with all the situation that we have to go through in terms of discrimination, abuses, rapes, and all of that stuff. And to see where African Americans are in American history today, it will be an understatement to say that it has to be a really, really resilient soul in these people to be where they are today. And let's not forget, America as we see today would never have been America without the African slave. It was the African slave who built this country.
Oh my God, I gotta stop it. That's enough, family. Did you hear that? It was the African who built this country. See, we have to be careful of what we wish for, family. The first leg of the baton passed to these Afrocentrics and Pan Africans, and they've been pumping this crap. But the new puppet master on the scene took up the baton, and they're taking it to a whole nother level. And we ourselves have been part of our own demise. So it's already happened, family. We've lost major battles. They're everywhere. Now let me show you what's also happening. So while they're replacing us over here, they're funded the new, again, what I said on my last presentation, family. The You can never kill Afrocentricity or Pan Africanism. We can get rid of it in our immediate cipher, but it will, as long as the majority of us are ignorant of who we are and who our ancestors are and were. That like a vampire, you can kill it, but you can take those ashes, dip a little blood on it, and it's going to rise from the dead again, because they can continue to find the ignorant ones who don't know who they are, and they can reap finances and just do whatever they want with them. So we can never kill it because we're still ignorant of not knowing who our ancestors were, family. For those who, unfortunately, and that's the most of us. Even we're different. Some of us are, but we still have to put ourselves in the we factor when it comes to this here dubious plan here, right? Now, of course, our main responsibility is to secure our own bloodline and our own children and great grandchildren's future, right? But as long as the opponent or the enemy can find the ignorant ones, they're going to always survive and be around. So let me quickly share this, because this is what's happening on the other end, family, what they're doing here. Let's play this here. So they're recruiting many of our people in America to go.
We are the buying power. If we can just teach each other to circulate our dollars within the community, we will solve our own problems. We are literally the answer to our own problems. but we have to change our thinking and come together. My name is Renee Walters, and I am the president of the Freedom Georgia Initiative. I have a Black husband, I have a Black son. Every time he would leave out for work or just to go to the store or anything, I would have a sense of anxiety just from watching everything that we've been going through lately with the pandemic and watching our Black men being murdered on national television in front of everybody. It kind of just all shook us by storm. It's now time for us to get our friends and family together and build for ourselves. That's the only way we'll be safe. That's the only way that this will work. We have to start bringing each other together. Well, we are looking to get amenities on the land. We want to have a place where you can have weddings, a nice retreat. We'll have tiny homes. We really just want you to come and hang out and feel safe. You don't have to worry about the Karens of the world and anything like that. You just come and have fun. We'll have a sportsman area with fishing, hunting, shooting range, ATV trails. We really just want to build a tight knit community for our people to just come and breathe together. I know they have a bad stigma that, oh, Black people can't come together, but just like how Black Wall Street, their dollars circulated around 11 times before it left the community. And that's just something we want to bring back. We want to encourage businesses to come and we want to circulate.
Hold on, family. This is okay. I'm moving. Hold on. I'm trying to get the one where they're moving to um, buy purchase land over in Africa. There. Um, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, there, family. Because that's the new thing. That's what's happening now. They're recruiting us to move over there in parts of West Africa to purchase land. Right? Hold on. Um, and that's a huge movement that's happening right now. Um, it's thousands upon thousands.
Recordings
Many of our
just
people are
got
going
better.
there to buy land there, family.
Hey, it's Dana from
Hold on one
StreamYard.
second.
I'm so excited to announce that local.
Shalom, shalom, guys. Shalom. Yes, welcome to the channel. We're just gonna do a quick video about before coming to Africa, how can you invest in land? So stay tuned. Make sure you like, comment, share this video. And if you haven't, just
that's enough there. But what I want you to know now, family, if you're not aware of it, that's what's happening there. And
shalom, guys.
there's a lot of them. You can just surf YouTube and look. Tens of thousands of them are going over there, and then a lot of them are getting scammed, big time. One brother had a set up where the Ghanaian government came and destroyed, broke, just he had a restaurant, right, and they closed down his restaurant, and it was just horrible. But see, again, the deal is to build up, because you got these Afrocentrics and Pan Africans building up the so-called, pale skinned boogeyman racist motif to instill the fear, and then they provide a solution. Oh, well, the solution is, well, you go to Africa, buy you some land, you don't have to worry about being, harassed or being killed and all of this stuff. So that's the hook sell what they're using, family, right, to get them over there. But when we stop, being in denial and look what's really going on, our young kids are killing each other. Period. Okay? So um, now let's start focusing real quick here on the puppet master. Now, as we know, Walter Plecker, everyone's familiar with Walter Plecker. And everyone's familiar. Here's the Washington Post article. And as you say here, obsessed with the idea of white superiority, Plecker championed legislation that would codify the idea that people with one drop of Negro blood could not be classified as white. His efforts led the Virginia legislature to pass the Racial Integrity Act of 1924, a law that criminalized interracial marriage and also required that every birth in the state be recorded by race, with the only options being, quote, white and, quote, colored. Now, we know, family, that Indians were reclassified as colored, right? Now, but something was done during the Obama camp when he was the president. So during his presidency, he did something. What did he do, family? Obama took off the racial constructs. And during that time, for us in my generation, we had Negro on our birth certificates. So if you order any new birth certificates now, family, there's nothing under the racial category. Why would they do that? Because that's part of their plan. So temporarily, right now, they took it off. But based upon what we're going to see in the future, it could be 50 years from now, especially those of us with knowledge of the older prior social constructs related to us. But between 50 and the next 100 years, they're going to bring back the racial constructs again. Okay? And this one in particular, colored, is going to be used. And it's going to shock you who it's going to be applied to, family. So, and we're going to get into that. So now we know, so Indians were reclassified as colored, right? Now, we've been, you notice in our cipher, there's been many debates, many discussions they call they used the term $5 Indians or those people, and they've been debating those people. But it's one thing they held over their head that they had that was always the Trump weapon, that we were reclassified, not them. Them being the recent discussions many of the people in the community had with what they term $5 Indians, right, or the more fair skinned type Indians. The last 3-4 years they've been having these discussions with them, and they were all the weapon they always had. You guys were never reclassified. We were, and that was the Trump card, right? So, but the puppet master had to figure out how to take that away, and they're working on that right now, family, right now. So, I'm going to show this quick video so we can know who the puppet master is, family. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second here. And then once we see this video, we're going to get into their evil plan here. It's a little quick video here from Tucker.
China has massive influence within our hemisphere. Go to any island in the Caribbean, in the American colonies there, we call them protectorates or some of their colonies. St. Croix, Virgin Islands, for example, all the infrastructure in St. Croix is built by China. What? Why would China be building an airport and the roads in St. Croix? And why are they doing the same in Jamaica and Haiti and virtually every population center in the Caribbean? Also true in South America. Again, this is our hemisphere, which for more than 200 years, we've said explicitly we control, we will not allow, world powers from across the oceans to control, anything of meaning in our hemisphere, and yet they are. And this is being completely ignored. I never heard anybody mention it. I just noticed it from traveling a lot. So I would just start there and say, what is this about? Maybe it's totally benign that they're building the infrastructure in Bolivia. Maybe it's not. China has massive influence within our hemisphere.
Okay, so that's
Go
it,
to any
family.
island
That's
in the
it.
Caribbean.
Okay, so we know this particular entity plan is to dominate and control the world. But their ultimate plan, family, is to own, the land of milk and honey, in particular, North America. And they've been already planting seeds, okay? Already planting the seeds in their family. And then the sleeper African is very important for their plan, very important, okay? So if you notice what's going on here, family, right amongst us, they're among us, the sleepers. And they're interested in our information, our family information. They're creating databases with family names backed by this puppet master. But why? I thought we were just insignificant. No, family. Again, the only way to know true American history is to know who were on the land titles. If you don't know about the land titles, you don't know real American history. I'm sorry, you don't. Anything you think you know is a diversion. That's what they're after. So it's not only to replace us with the real African in the next 100 years, but they're going to weave themselves into being the indigenous first Americans. How they're going to do it? They're going to take one of our old constructs and apply it to themselves. Let me not talk about it. Let me show you. So, again, a few days ago, I came home, and this is divine work, family. I'm just a tool that the ancestors use and show me things and lead me to things. And this is what they led me to. So, I came home and I'm on Ancestry, and they guided me and just, told me to do this, do that, and whoop, pow, pow, poof. Look what I discovered. So let's start with case number 1. This is a ship manifest. We'll make it bigger. Hold on to your seats, family. Hold on to your seats. Because this is going to be shocking, shocking information. But fortunately, we discovered it early. This is a ship manifest. Okay? Go to the top of this here. All right. Read this here. List or manifest of aliens employed on the vessel as members of crew. Okay? So they're coming into the United States port, one of the ports. Where did they depart from? Singapore. Okay? They departed from Singapore, and on the vessel Phineas, name of the vessel. Phineas departed from Singapore. Okay? And now let's look at this here. Look at these names. And this particular name we're concerned with is Sang Wong. They're Chinese names. Okay, now, family name, Mr. Lo, Mr. Fong, Mr. Chong. Now let's go over to where the category says race. So we'll see this here, right? Race, nationality. Chinese, Chinese. and the dudes is continued for all of them are actually Chinese. Okay, right? And we got a physical marked description about them, right? Um, Discharged, and this is what November 24th, 1941. The actual record's 1942. Okay, so we got these Chinese, and they're all men, okay, coming into one of our ports in 1942. All right, and we see all this. Now, the interesting thing is, family, you see these lines crossing out the names and everything else, right? Why? Because they're in the early stages of reconstructing these records. Okay? So, Sang Wong, right here, this is the guy that we're kind of concerned with. Sang Wong, who's 19, he was a steward. Okay? And we see here he's a male. And again, he's Chinese, 5'4". Okay, so this is the original 1942 record. But when you pull this up on Ancestry, you're going to see modern, updated, typed in information. I took a screenshot of that, and let's look at it. Second one, record. Oh, okay. I gotta go over here. It's over here. Hold on. Go to my email here. Hold on a second. Here we go here. Okay. Okay. Now, so we just saw the original record of Sang Wong, right? Now, so I took a screenshot of the updated information with the new categories. Look at this here. Sang Wong, male. What's his race? Colored. Arrival age 43. Birth date 1899. Departure place Singapore. Why would they update it and put colored as a race for someone Chinese back in the 1940s? Because what it seems to me, family, based upon all the evidence we're looking at, they own the term African American. They're bringing in these Africans to replace us, but they want to own America. They think actually the whole story of the Native Americans being Asian, because they actually, some historians would say that they were originally Chinese. Chinese are going to take that and make it a reality, but the only way they can do it is they got to use this colored term that used to be applied to us. Why? Because the Indians were reclassified as colored. Once they get this construct, family, then they successfully will have woven themselves into the fabric of being the Aboriginal Indigenous Indians. This is the early stages. This is case one. Let's go to case number two. Case number two. We're not finished. Okay, this is Mr. Lam Chow. Okay, it's the same ship, the Phineas ship, same departure port, Singapore, in the same year, 1942. They're going to cross out all this here because they're working on, they're going to create this is going to be a new record soon in the future. Okay, so let's go down to Mr. Lam Chow. Here he is here, Mr. Lam Chow, right there, okay? Now, see there? Male, 32, 5'5", and he's Chinese nationality on the original record. So now, we go to look at the hijack plan on this, what's going to be the updated new version in the future. Right here. Lam Chow, gender male, colored, black and white, in parenthesis, family. Because they could say we were reclassified as colored, because in the history Indians were changed, were reclassified into colored. Our records, family, they're going to put the African American on our old ancestors' records. There'll be no memory that the colored term applied to our ancestors. Arrival age 32, birth date 1910 from Singapore. Arrival date January 12th, 1942. Let's go to case number 3. This is Mr. Yang Ing. Yang Ing. Okay? Same ship, Phineas. They all came out together on the same ship. We go down here, look for Yang Ing. Right? No, that's what Yao. Well, I guess that is him. Wait a minute. Here's Ing here. Make sure. Could be 2 of them there. Okay, I guess that's down there. Just cut off the first name down there. Okay, so here it is down here. Mr. Ing. Okay, and this is first name here. And we go over there, Chinese. And then he's 5'5". He had a black mole on his right cheekbone. They said here he's 5'5". Okay, and then we go to the updated record. Right, we go to the updated record. We go to the updated record on Yang Ning. And there it is here. On his updated record, they did the same thing. Name Yao Ing, male. He's colored. 36 when he arrived. Born 1906 in Singapore. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, family. Across that southern border, we got Africans, we got other people, but there are also Chinese coming across. But see, fortunately for the Chinese, they don't have to go walk through that damn Darien Gap. They're actually flying over to like Acapulco, and then because they have the money, and then they're coming in. All right, so it would be selected high-end, probably most likely wealthy individuals who will take on and become this. Now, mind you, family, remember, we have lines across the original record. So, which means they're going to also have to take on certain names, you see, which would be names like Johnson, Williams, Taylor, etc. Let's go to the next case, 4. Let's go to the next one. I know it hurts, fam, but we had our heads in the sand too long. We've been passive, but we got it. We have to see it and know it all. And there is a solution, and we're gonna go over that solution after we show this gross, ugly, dubious plan of theirs. This is Tech He. Okay, so he's on the same ship, same port. They all came in together. This is what I'm here. This Tech He Yim. Okay, so I don't know what other conclusion we can draw, family. Why would they recently use that term for Chinese who came over back in the 1940s? It's not a mistake or a coincidence. It's a plan. Something's going on, and nothing's going to be laid out obviously or easily. We have to take different pieces of evidence and draw a reasonable inference. Read the tea leaves. And so we see him there, and then we go to his record, the new updated version on him. Right here, you see that Tech Yum He, male, he's colored, 32, born 1910, from Singapore, same arrival date, January 12th, 1942. And the next record is a Cam Long, right? So we have him down here, right? So then we can just go, let's go to the updated version of Cam Long's record right here. There it is, Cam Long. And we see Cam Long, male, race colored, 27 when he arrived, born 1915, also from Singapore, same arrival date. And they came to Honolulu, Hawaii, that part of the United States at that time. But this is going to be the new. Remember, on the original record, they're Chinese, but the updated version and their planned hijack is to list them as colored. Because this is the label that's important, because this is what the Indians were reclassified as. And so they got to weave themselves into the social construct that's connected with Indians. Okay, and then here we have the final two records here. And then this next one is a Mr. Lai Tao Aw here. You see, he was 47 when he arrived. His new classification will be colored, born around 1895, and he departed from Singapore, same date, January 12th, 1942. And then the final record is Niang Wong Xiao, and male, colored, arrival age. He was 41, born 1901, departed Singapore, arrival date January 12th, 1942. So this is the few here that the ancestors blessed me and guided me to. And we now have this new information, which is critical, family, because we didn't know any of this. And we also know that now we know that, remember, Obama took the racial classifications off. So with these pieces of evidence we just saw, family, we understand why this could be a connection. Because we're the ones with at our age, we know what social constructs apply to our grandparents and great grandparents. But in the next 50 to 100 years, their plan is once we're no longer around, they're going to bring back the racial classifications, and then all the old records applied to our ancestors will be African American, and then these new, the takeover Chinese will be the colored people, hence Indians, and hence they will have woven themselves into the fabric, and that they are the Aboriginal original Americans. But we're fortunate because this is at the early, so we caught it at the early stage, family. The early stages. All right. So now, what's the solution? What do we do? Well, it's what you do, because again, as I've been impressing upon the family, we must honor our ancestors. How do you do that? Find them. Find them. Both on your maternal line and your paternal line. Find them. Because they were brilliant. And they knew this would come, these days were coming. They knew that. That's why they set up things in the laws, created the land patent system. Now, let me show an example of this. Show an example of this here. Honors to Eris Labuzan, and I have to give honors to Miss Wright there. She found these record here, but I'm just going to kind of show a little bit of this here. Now, we're very familiar. I don't know, maybe you guys aren't familiar with the Indian Springs Treaty of 1825. Okay, Now, again, we have to take with a grain of salt the cover story of what they tell us what happened during those times, right? Basically where Macintosh wanted to contract with the United States Republic to cede lands west of the Mississippi, I mean east of the Mississippi. Okay, and there were six, the Muskogee Nation. Um, Six of them signed that agreement. Now, others in the Muskogee Nation were livid and angry, according to what they want us to believe. Okay, so according to their story, they were not happy with the deal Macintosh struck, and they supposedly they end up killing Macintosh. They killed two of the signatories, according to their story, right? And then the United States said, okay, we'll make a new agreement, but the Lord Governor Troop, George Troop, ignored it and stuck with the older original treaty, Indian Springs Treaty, dealing with the ceding of the land. They did, now this is all their story. And then he ended up issuing land grants through a lottery system. Okay, but now remember, that's the cover story. The other cover story is also that during this time, in the people like us were slaves of these so-called Hollywood-looking Indians. So we know that's not true. So anything else they tell us, we have to safely infer is not true. Maybe half true, maybe 30%, whatever. But so let me show you an example of Erez Labuzan's ancestors during that time. Because no, they were not slaves. They were, major movers and shakers. So let's first start off with this. Let's see here. Okay, let's start with this here. So this is one of her ancestors, and hopefully you can see it. So her ancestor was issued one of those land grants pursuant to the Indian Springs Treaty. All right, so blow that up. Maybe let me see. Let me download it so I can blow it up bigger so the family can see it better. Hold on a second here. Okay, here we go. Let's see if it can work out better here. Okay, maybe that's better. I can zoom in more. Okay, so let's take a look at what this. See, this information you'll never be exposed to, family. And again, you never know American history until you know who's on the title. When you know who's on the title, you know who the heirs are. Heirs aren't people who look like Bill Clinton. The heirs aren't people who look like Xi Jinping. All right, here. State of Georgia. The Lord Governor, Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of this state, and the militia thereof. To all to whom these presents shall come, greetings. Know ye that in pursuance of the several acts of the General Assembly of this state, passed the 15th day of December, 1818, and the 16th day of December, 1819, for making distribution of the land lately acquired of the Creek and Cherokee nations of Indians, and forming the counties of Early, Irwin, Appling, Walton, Gwinnett, Hall, what is that? Habersham, and Raybon in this state. I have given and granted, and by these presents in the name and behalf of the state, do give and grant unto Bartholomew Labuzan of the, what is that, 599th District, Richmond County, his heirs and assigns forever. Okay? All right, and this is, we go down to the bottom of the year. 1830. But you're supposed to be slaves of Hollywood Indians, and they brought you over through some so-called thing called the Trail of Tears. Or maybe they had a benevolent feeling. Oh, well, he's been a good one. And we butt broken him so many times, and he had to go home embarrassed with white cream on his face, where his daughter said, Mommy, what is that white stuff on Daddy's face? I just kind of have to divert for a minute, family, because I don't believe how we will allow someone to put that image out into the world and to still allow them to walk around. All right? Crazy. But we have to get out of the fiction, family. They created a fictitious jurisdiction that's a fiction and promoted it to the world. It's not reality. When you stop agreeing to play the role in their script and step over into the real world, then your ancestors will bless you to where you can find this type of information and claim your inheritance. The African sleeper we saw in the video earlier, he knows nothing about this, and he's not supposed to. Let's keep him in the fiction and ignore him. He doesn't matter. He doesn't know anything about American history or the American nation's, history or achievements. No, they don't know anything. All right? Now, it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. Hold on a second here. So, that's one of our ancestors. Here's another one of our ancestors. Well, let me download it so I can blow it up, make it bigger. Okay. Here. Okay. See, so as long as we've been under the spell and thinking that you're some slave and your ancestors were slave and chattel slavery, you're under that spell. You didn't do any research. You're not trying to do any research because the spell prevents you from doing any of that because you believe what the Hollywood movie taught you, that you were in brutal chattel slavery with no freedoms, you couldn't do anything, and everybody enslaved you. When they say that the Hollywood Indians enslaved you, they say fair-skinned Arabs enslaved you. They say Chinese enslaved you. You're that weak and pathetic to let that happen to you. Your ancestors were that weak, and we bought it. All right. Here's another one. And this here, same thing here. So now, greeting know ye that in pursuance of the act of the General Assembly of the state, the act to lay out the gold region, laid out of the gold region in the lands at present, in the occupancy of the Cherokee Indians, into small lots, and dispense of the same by separate lottery, passed on 24th day of December, 1831. Okay, I have given and granted, and by these presents do give and grant unto Charles Labuzon on the District of Richmond County, his heirs and assigns forever. All right, and this is land that has gold on it. Okay, allotted out to whom? Cherokee Indians, and that was in the April, what looked like a 1833. Same time the Hollywood tells you were taken over as something called the Trail of Tears, right? That's what they had you believe, because they don't want you to find this out. They didn't want you to find this out because they wouldn't be able to build their houses with big, large swimming pools and estates right now on your land that your ancestors, with brilliant insight, patented to ensure it would stay in their offspring and progeny's line forever. But everything went wrong when they created this whole out of Africa deal. So you'll never realize that you're an heir. You'll never know that. doesn't stop there, family. Okay, now I'm going to share this here information. And again, honors to Ms. Wright there for finding this here. This is very powerful information, and this is going to tie everything up here. Hold on. Let's blow this up here. All right, look at this. So we saw one of the land patents issued to one of our ancestors, Charles Lauzon. Now look at this, family. This is a sword. This is her ancestor's sword with his name engraved on it. Captain C for Charles. His middle name A. Lauzon. All right. Look at this. Yeah, he was a great warrior, her ancestor. And this is his sword here. But it goes even deeper. Check this out. So remember, the cover story was these pale skins coming in here, killing a bunch of Indians, taking people from Africa, bringing them over here. This is the cover story we're told, based on their Hollywood fiction that we bought as reality. So now, you just saw the sword. Now we're going to zoom in details. This is what's on the sword. Look at this image. You know who that is? That's Tecumseh. That's Tecumseh on her ancestor's sword. A warrior would never have the image of the enemy on his weapon. A warrior, if any warrior would have an image of anyone on their weapon, it means that it's an ancestor that they're honoring, a previous great warrior from their nation. That's the inference I draw. Understanding the art of war and understanding the mind of a warrior. Because you want to invoke previous warriors from your nation who did great deeds on a battlefield. This is Tecumseh on that sword. So think about this, family. So you were taught on the Hollywood script fiction of reality that Indians' lands were taken and you think the land patent system that they created. No. Pale skins aren't on the title. They're not the heirs of the land. They created a new system on top of our ancestors' system. Their system deals with mortgages from banks where you're never the owner. The ancestor who has this sword has multiple land patents in multiple locations. And here's another image here. No, hold on, that's not. Hold on. And there's another image of the sword there, and you just see circled there. That's Tecumseh. Okay, right there on her ancestor's sword. So she's honoring her ancestors' family, put the work in, and came across this national treasure that she's going to claim. Because doing that, the Chinese plan is not going to affect her. So we all must do this. And there are many others that's doing what she's doing. Many others. Lisa the Acumac, she's doing it. Many others. And so there are real battles out here in the real world, family, that's happening, whether you know it or not. But we presented a little bit of the information out there to you. We presented the dubious plans that they have to erase us forever. and we have a solution. But it's up to you to put the work in to discover who your paternal and maternal ancestors were, and you may find a national treasure, just like Eris Labuzan found hers. It's not we this, we that. That's a cop-out, because that psychologically gives you the excuse not to do anything, not to put work in. And remember, our ancestors were never, they're not going to bless us, family, until we start honoring them. So we can close out there, family. Appreciate everyone taking the time out of your Sunday evening, but this was very important information that had to get out. Okay. Yeah. So from tomorrow or from Monday, family, now you have a mandate. We all have a mandate. That mandate is to start honoring our ancestors. Until we do that, they're never going to bless us, and we're going to be targets and food for witches and warlocks, family. I don't know about you, but I don't want this new puppet master being my master. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you feel the same. So we have a mandate, and that mandate is to start honoring our ancestors, right? And anyone needing any help or assistance, you can always feel you can reach out to me. I'll put my email in the main chat. 5@gmail.com. We don't have a lot of time, family, because the enemies, they got a plan, a master plan, long-term play, a long-term plan, family. And they're according to their long-term plan, we're not in it. We don't exist. So, and do not under any circumstance continue to promote that social construct African American, because you're empowering the enemy that's going to replace you. Not only should you not want to have conversations with Afrocentrics and Pan-Africans, you want to take your sword and start chopping heads off now, family. Because it's critical mass. We're on the edge. No time to play around. So with that there, everyone, thank you. I appreciate everyone there. Have a great evening. And from Monday, we have a mandate, and we have to get to work. We have a lot of work to do. So with that there, everyone have a great night.